So we're continuing our journey of First John, and now we're at chapter 2. But before we begin, I just wanted to kind of reiterate what was happening and what has happened, since I have more of a clear understanding of what's going on. The book is written by John, of course. His brother is James. He wrote the book of James. James wrote the book of James, and John is his brother. John also wrote the book of Revelation, and he also wrote the book of 2nd John and 3rd John and the Gospel of John. And that's John for you. You read the book of John, and you see that he's the disciple that whom Jesus loves most, in his own words, claiming that authority and stuff like that. And what kind of blew my mind, and I don't know about you, but as I was just kind of thinking about this all day today from chapter 1, is it just says, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes and touched and looked with our hands. I'm just like, that's so cool to be the person who touched Jesus and walked with Jesus and let your head rest on Jesus. And oh my goodness, that would just be so wild. I just can't get that out of my mind of what it must be like to walk with Jesus. And then there's just so much good stuff. And so John wrote the book. That's who wrote it. He talked with Jesus, was with Jesus. And so what happened is he was writing to this church. And as we read in chapter 2, in verse 26, it says, I'm writing these things to you about those who are trying to lead you astray. So he's writing to a group of believers who, within the own church, some false people, some false prophets have come up and started challenging the Christian idea of what a Christian is. And one of the leading things that came into this church was this idea called Gnosticism, which said that spirit was good and matter was evil. And so what that means is that you could take it one of two ways. You could say, okay, since the spirit's good and matter's evil, I'm going to treat my body harshly, which is a form of asceticism, which means if I sin, I'm just going to beat myself, I'm going to cut myself, and just kind of all this crazy stuff going on. And then the other way was just saying, you know what, since spirit is good and matter is evil, I don't believe that those things are linked together. And so I'm just not going to worry about that. I'm not going to worry about sin, because sin doesn't affect my body and it doesn't have anything to do with my spirit. And so I can just do whatever I want. And that's what John was challenging them with those who walk in the light. And God is light, in him there is no darkness at all. If we claim to have fellowship with him, yet walk in the darkness, we lie and do not live by the truth. And so he's telling these false prophets, it's just like, okay, no, that's not happening. You're not walking with Jesus if you're disobeying what he says. He says a true Christian is one who knows Jesus, who says that Jesus is the Christ. And two, it's one who obeys God and does what he commands and lives like Jesus. And that's what a true Christian is. And in chapter 2, we see that verses 18 through 27 all talk about these false prophets, how they're leaving the church and stuff like that, and have left because they don't believe in this Jesus guy. They believe he was just kind of, a good guy. And since they believe this matter was evil and spirit was good thing, they believed, Jesus at his baptism, that's when the real God ascended onto him, because matter's evil, so Jesus couldn't have been Jesus. And then right before Jesus died, his spirit left him, the good spirit left him, until the matter part, the evil part, died. And he's just like, no, that's not it. And you read that in Philippians chapter 2, where Paul's talking about how the fullness of God is in Jesus and was always in Jesus. And there's no difference when he got baptized or when he got crucified. It was always Jesus. And he was always living for the Father, doing what the Father said, and all that kind of stuff. And so this stuff is so good. It's a bummer to just kind of read this book and never really apply it in some way. And so I was just trying to think of ways to apply it to my own life. And I think the thing that got me the most was verse 15 in chapter 2 through 17, where it says, do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For everything in the world, the cravings of sinful man, the lust of his eyes, and the boasting of what he has and does. That was it for me. Boasting of what he has and does. I don't know. I just always find myself boasting about what I have and what I do and what I crave. I found myself going to a car dealer today looking for a new car. I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, man, I don't need a new car. There's starving people in the world who don't even have a car and don't even have food in their life right now. I'm just like, why am I thinking about buying a $30,000 car? I'm just like, why don't I, think maybe like Jesus and maybe downsize, get out of my car that I'm making payments on and give some of that money away. And so those are some of the thoughts that have been just challenging me lately. It's just been like, whoa, I don't know. It's been crazy. It's just like, do I really love God, or is it kind of just, am I just in love with the idea and in love with Christianity in general? And I don't know, that whole chapter 1 and now into chapter 2 about loving the world and being someone who's in fellowship with Jesus, I just question. I'm just like, am I really in love with God, and am I really walking with Him and wanting to be with Him? And man, it must have been amazing to be John, to have looked at Jesus' life and been with Him and done the deal. Just like, wow, that's incredible. And so I hope that helps you at all and gives you a better understanding about this Gnosticism and asceticism, and you'll see some of this in the other books of the Bible. I hope you guys have a wonderful night and enjoy your reading. Sorry it's a 6-minute video. I didn't mean to go that long, but I guess I got a little excited. So, bye-bye.